have the connect call that happens on Saturdays. This right now is the product lab session. And today we're going to be talking about how to go from from a fixed roadmap to outcome-driven product strategy. A lot of things is changing in the world that we are today. And as a product manager, you need to change with it as well. If you stay rigid, my oh my, well, your product will stay in the past as well. And that might mean profit staying in the past and you losing your job and quite a lot of things, right? So it is very, very important that you become a product manager that is outcome driven. And to drive this home for us today, we have Bridget. Bridget is going to be helping us to go deeper into what it means to be outcome driven. Now, why Bridget? Bridget is a seasoned product leader and she has over 7 years of experience. And when I look through Bridget's profile, it's not the years of experience that stands out for me. What stands out for me in particular is the number of sectors she's worked in, right? She's worked in golf tech, she's worked in head tech, she's worked in SaaS, enterprise applications, and now she's doing fintech, right? So she's coming from a wealth of experience and a wealth of knowledge to come and help us understand how to be outcome driven. Beyond all of these things that Bridget has done, she's also worked in a couple of organizations like people in product, non-tech in tech, Enoverlab, Ideation School, She Code Africa. In fact, Bridget was recently a contributor to organizations like Nairametrics. If you are someone who care about your money and you don't pay attention to Nairametrics, you don't care about your money enough, right? And currently, Bridget serves as the product manager for target savings products at MoneyPoint. And there, she has been leading initiatives to help millions of customers, to help them get better at their financial goals. And today, she would help us get better with respect to products and making sure we have outcome-driven strategies. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Bridget. Hi, Bridget. Over to you. Let's drive it up. Hi, Bridget. Are you there? I would like to confirm that someone else can hear me. Okay.
Hi, Toby. We can hear you.
Oh, awesome.
We
Awesome.
can hear you.
Yeah, awesome. Just give me 1 minute, please. I would like to nudge Bridget to. Okay. Oh, sorry. She already mentioned that I give her 5 minutes. I didn't see the message earlier. Okay. Well, we'll give Bridget 5 minutes to come back on the call. I would like to go around and do more introductions. A lot of people have mentioned that it's been raining in their environment, and I also saw sun in Port Harcourt today. I have not seen sun for the past 10 days. Outside of that, I would like to ask the question, what are you hoping to learn from today's session? What is one thing that you would like to learn from today's session? I would like to start with Celestina. Hi, Celestina. What is one thing you would like to leave today's session knowing? Or just one thing? Hi, Celestina. Or let me call Toluwanimi. What is it about strategy or roadmaps that you want to learn from joining the call today? You can raise up your hand if you would like to contribute, by the way. I can see JR is already on the call.
All right. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. So I think what I would like to learn today is, will I call it a generic template? Like, you've read Bridget's biography in a way and how she has been able to succeed in different sectors. So the common factor is her. So she'll come and show us how she's able to adapt into different sectors and still deliver results. So I hope to, even if she doesn't say outrightly, I hope to pick out something generic that she's doing everywhere. Then I can apply that to my career. So that's what I hope today.
Amazing. Love that. Thank you very much, Luani. I would like to call Oluwa to be next. Yes, Oluwa to be. What is one thing you would like to learn from today's session? I know we're combining two everything: roadmap, strategy. What is one thing you want to leave today knowing? Before I pass the mic back to Bridget, let's say from here.
Yeah, so good evening everyone.
Good.
So one of the things I'm looking out for is how to like what are the normal ritual like you have to do to actually come up with a strategy that would be focused on outcome and not just features, and also how you'll be able to maintain those strategy even going forward when building that product. So how it will actually like shape decisions and the like. So I'm actually like looking forward to that.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much. So Nimi has talked about making sure she would like to get templates that cuts across sectors when it comes to having a outcome-driven strategy. Now Toby is talking about how to even have strategies that can withstand multiple requests in the first place. And Bridget is here to answer all of our questions. And over to you, Bridget. Thank you very much.
Yeah, hi Toby. Let me see if I can turn on my camera. Even with the light, because everywhere is a bit dark.
We can see you regardless. It's
You
fine.
can see me regardless.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's fine.
Hi everyone. Good
All right.
evening. Yeah.
Like it's a stressful day. I can feel the work stress in your voice.
Like I'm so exhausted. I can't even lie to you. But we gotta do this. We have to do this.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah. Thank you for the encouragement. I think I saw a clap there. Thank you for the encouragement. Right. So we just go straight into it. So that we can have time to take questions and I can, answer some of these questions. I'm going to be sharing my screen now. Give me a moment. Should I do slideshow if I share? Let me see it all. Let me do that. Let me know if you can see my screen and if you are seeing it in slideshow mode.
Yeah, we can see it's in slideshow mode. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I think I had some of the expectations for today's call, right? How we can move away from, the fixed roadmap that we have and how we can be more outcome driven is what we'll be looking at today. And I think I'm going to be speaking from experience because I've been in product teams where roadmaps are crafted beginning of the year for a 1 year period. I think I was in a team where we crafted a roadmap for 5 years. Let me not say roadmap per se, so that it's not looking like, why would the company do that? But then again, the roadmap was for 5 years. And I can remember me and my colleagues joking about it that this roadmap, how am I shall still be in this company in the next 2 years? Who will do these things? Well, I'm wishing the future product manager good luck because how do you want us to be crafting? Except I'm the CEO or I have high stakes. Why will you tell me? Our funny story is, I don't want to mention the name of the company. The company I crafted 5 years roadmap for, I'm no longer there. And a lot of us in those senior management positions that crafted that 5 years roadmap for, most of them have left the company. And I think I was just chatting one of my friends that also left. They're like, I wonder who is building the 5 years roadmap that we gave. So anyway, it's more around, because this was more from the management or leadership standpoint, right? So how do we convince the leadership standpoint that while it is good to have some bit of direction, but having a long-term roadmap that is feature-driven is not the right way to go. We can have outcome, we can have visions, right? But it shouldn't be, strict on this is what we must do to get to that outcome. And basically that's what I'm going to be sharing today. So before I go on, I usually love, feeding off the energy from the room. So please indulge me so that the session will be really nice and interactive. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions and you can signify with raise of hands or show of hands, right? Okay, let me ask the next. Okay. So how many of these have happened to you in your team? I want to believe that we have product people on the call, either product managers. You might not be product manager, maybe an engineer. As long as you're in a product team, you can relate to this. And if you can relate, please let's see show of hands. Let me even know what I'm dealing with. If you know roadmap change within a quarter, like you guys spent months, let me not say weeks putting together. Thank you. Great. I'm seeing my people, solidarity. Leadership introduced a new priority mid-sprint. Maybe they say, we have to go all AI. AI is the new thing. Claude. Everybody needs to start building with Claude, or Claudia. Amazing. Customer asks for something you did not plan for. Customer say, we need this thing now. And your CEO is like, shit, we should be listening to customers more often. Why are we not picking it up? Okay. I can see my people here. The market conditions forced you to pivot. If you're in fintech, I'm sure you can relate to these market conditions. Maybe something, a new regulation, CBN brought one thing. Amazing. I can see my people. Great. So while all of these things are happening, right, it's not really a fault from you as a product person. It doesn't mean that you don't know what you're doing. And neither is the roadmap broken. It's just that environment, CBN. It's just the environment is changing. And change, like they say, is constant. Environment change, humans change, your users change, needs change. The situation of your team change, right? You might have all rock stars engineer for some reason they start jackbuying and you don't have that so much rock star engineers. A lot of things can change, right? And you really need to be able to factor all of this change. So it's not an issue with your roadmap. It's more around, how you are going about it. Okay. And this brings me to why having a fixed roadmap is no longer sufficient, no longer works as it's supposed to. So don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say having a vision board or a roadmap or a direction or a plan, quote and unquote, is bad. It's just how we treat this plan, how we treat roadmap, how we create roadmap is what I'm going to be, speaking more about, right? So traditional roadmap, assume we know exactly what customers need. Even your CEOs, they'll be like, hey, I'm solving a problem that I'm facing. I know this problem very well. They assume like they know their customers and want to shape the roadmap based on what customers need. How the solutions will work, exactly what the market looks like right now or 6 months from now. But the truth is, product development doesn't really work like that, right? Because we just saw from the previous slide that environment keeps changing, human needs keeps changing, users needs keep changing, situations of things keeps changing, a lot of things, new technology, new innovation can just come out from nowhere. And you need to be able to take all of this in, right? And because of that, it is important for us to be more outcome driven in respect to how we approach product development, right? And I'm just going to be telling you most of the differences so that in case you are on the table of fixed roadmap or your organization, your company, or your team is on the table of fixed roadmap, you can, identify with it and see what you are supposed to be doing, right? Rather than what you are doing right now. So fixed roadmap commits to features. It's more around, hey, we want to build XYZ in the next 2 or 3 months. In the next 2 or 3 months, I want us to build this, that, this. And then if I got to a point, even with some of the product teams I've worked with, right? Because I was forced to work on the roadmap, the managers will be like, hey, you need to give me your team's roadmap in terms of what you want to build in the next 12 months. What will the engineers be doing? And if you cannot come up with what the engineers will be doing, it looks like maybe people don't have work. Like, okay, what are we paying you for? Right? Let's just commit to a feature. And at the end of the day, instead of you trying to look for problems to solve or trying to actually build what matters, you just see that you have turned into a feature delivery factory or a feature factory. So fixed roadmap commits to features, but outcome-driven strategy commits to outcomes. Like, what exactly are we trying to solve? What customer problem are we trying to solve? What business metric are we trying to move? When I talk about outcomes, this is what I mean, right? And that is what outcome-driven strategy is all about. Another thing is fixed roadmap measures delivery. We're looking at, oh, how many features are we able to build in this amount of time? Let's say 2 weeks, 2 sprints, depending on what sprint is in your company or your organization. Sprint can be 2 weeks for a sprint. You can say, okay, how many features can we ship? We're all about ship. We need to ship. If you're not shipping anything, you're wrong. That is not the mindset that you should have. That's not the right mindset that your product team should have, right? Instead, you should be more around measuring impact. We built XYZ. What did it do to our, let's say, customer satisfaction score, your NPS score? What did it do to your retention metric and more customer coming back? Is it increasing signups for you, right? That is what you should be focused about, not about how many features we were able to launch. Oh, we did 4 this last sprint. We should be able to do 5 in the next sprint. That is a fixed roadmap like mentality. Then fixed roadmap resist change because you have already locked in. You know that statement, you need to lock in. You have locked in already. You don't want to hear anything anybody's saying. Customers are coming in with their requests because this happens, you know. Customers are coming with requests. You don't want to read and say, oh, you have to wait till next year when we're planning for the next roadmap. At the end of the day, you see that you're losing customers because you're not taking feedback, you're not iterating, you're not building because you've already locked in an amount of things you need to do in terms of features that your team needs to focus on, right, without necessarily being able to learn and adapt that an outcome-driven team is more about. Then lastly, fixed roadmap prioritizes entities like, hey, we're going to build this. It needs to come out in the next 1 month, no matter what. That is what is important to us. You don't want to hear, oh, something changed. Maybe it might not be any more useful. You're all about, we need to ship, right? But outcome-driven strategy is all about value. Being able to like make certain trade-offs, being open to trade-offs, right, is what you're supposed to be focused about. And moving on from here, right, because I'm just trying to like establish what I mean from a shift from a fixed roadmap mentality or way of work to a more outcome-driven strategy. So that in case you are doing either of these or you're not doing any of this, you can easily see where the gaps exist and you can, you know, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing to be more outcome or value-driven because that is where, you know, the growth lies at the end of the day. So how do you shift from these mindsets? Now you have to be able to differentiate the difference between a fixed roadmap and moving to a more outcome-driven roadmap or strategy way of building products. So one way that you can do for that is more around the questions you ask, right? Instead of asking, what features do we need to build next? You know, okay, someone unmuted.
Yeah, working on that.
What did you say? Okay.
I will mute them immediately.
All right, thanks. So instead of asking what features do we need to build next, the question you should be asking is, what business outcome are we trying to achieve? That should be the goal. And when you find yourself asking these kind of questions, features, ideas or solutions will come to you. And it's not just going to come to you directly, right? Because you should not be the one manufacturing or coming up with the next feature to build. There should be a process that guides you to discover what feature is needed to build that will drive impact or bring about the necessary outcome. Not necessarily, oh, we need to just do something to show that, hey, to show your workings, so that they will not sack you, to show that we're not just lounging around, right? The question you should be asking is, what business outcome are we trying to achieve? So with doing all of this, your roadmap becomes one expression of the strategy, not necessarily the strategy itself. Why? Because strategy defines where you're going, right? And why you are getting there, why you're going there. There's this saying, I'm sure all of us have heard it, right? That product people, product managers, the difference between us, you see Backstreet Boys and babies, we're always asking why. It's very important for us to also like maintain that ability to always ask why. We should not just say, hey, build this and you're just building. You should ask yourself, okay, if I'm building this, what exactly is this going to do for us, right? And I'm not saying, oh, you always have to be impact driven or whatnot, but you should be able to correlate to something. You should be able to measure it. Or else you just look like you're just doing work, quote and unquote, right? So the roadmap should reflect your current best path to getting to your why. Not necessarily, hey, it's just reflecting your what, and what. It should reflect what is getting you to your why in terms of what you're prioritizing for your team. Again, like the idea is to build around your outcomes and not necessarily, oh, we need to build around number of features or things that as a team we need to like push out there. Why? Because outcome, once you have like your outcome, every other thing just follows, right? And it's very stable. Things happening midway, right? Your roadmap will be able to like resist, will be able to like, what's the word now? It's more flexible if you are more outcome driven, because outcome itself is stable. You know your why. Your why is not necessarily changing, right? And you know, if I'm not getting to your why, you can't even move to the next step or the next stage. So for instance, let's say your outcome, again, this is more outcome driven. I'm sure some teams might have heard of things called like OKR, objective key results. So think of this like, what is the objective focus? I know a lot of teams do that. It's something that I also look at, right, when I'm also building. Most teams that are more outcome driven usually walk around, you know, OKRs that are measurable, right? There's what I think is SMART, right? Specific, measurable, actualizable, you know, and all of those other things. These are things that your objective should have, and these are things that makes a good outcome. So for instance, if your outcome has, we want to increase retention of our users, and it's very specific. Why do I mean specific? Is measurable in terms of the metric number, 50%. It might be that at where you are right now, you are at maybe 5%, and you want to increase retention rate of your users on your product, and the goal is to take it up a notch by 10% to make it 15%. Once you have that outcome, solutions can involve, right, along the line, because you have the big picture. There are so many ways to get to the big picture, and it's to look at which ways. There's something again we call OST, like opportunity solution trees. So you can look at different opportunities that can come from this outcome. But if maybe you're working backward, you're going from feature to say, I want to build this, and I say, okay, if we build this, okay, what exactly is going to do for us? That's not the right way to work, because you're working backward. Instead, you should be working from the other way, which is outcome leads to, you know, ideas, opportunities that exist, which leads to like solutions, features that the team can work on, that we, at the end of the day, you know, bring in the value that is needed for your team. So again, looking at this objective or this outcome, right, it's saying increase retention by 15%. Depending on your team, depending on the type of product that you build, there might be different ways. Again, looking at your users, your target audience, there might be different ways or opportunities that might exist for you to be able to increase retention, right? It can be maybe we need to like make it more personalizable, right? So that users can feel like, oh, this belongs to me, you know, build that connection, can help you bring users back every time to the product. For instance, I'm going to make an example. I'm trying to also make examples so that we can relate. Like a Netflix, for instance, right? I'm sure a lot of us use Netflix. I use Netflix. The reason I remember Netflix because I just started rewatching Big Bang Theory. I think this is like my 6th or 7th time I'm watching Big Bang Theory. Anyway, let me focus on product. So Netflix had some bit of personalization, things like recommendations, you know, what other people around you, your country is watching, because they know, again, these are things you can relate to. And doing all of those personalization, the moment I watch one movie, I'm already seeing something that, hey, recommended because of what you have watched before. I want to stay back, or I want to keep coming back. That is a retention metric on its own. For a Netflix kind of product, yours might need some bit of referrals, right? To say, okay, anytime I use this product, you know, I can refer, anytime I refer somebody after a use, I get so and so income or money or benefits, more people are coming back. So there are different ways. What I'm just trying to say is the outcome is very stable, but there are different ways to achieve the outcome. It's more outcome driven. That is what leads to, you know, the feature that you're building. So at the end of the day, this type of roadmap or this kind of outcome-driven strategy is more flexible. It evolves as you learn about your users. It evolves as you learn about your market, right? And the solution evolves basically as you learn about different aspects of, you know, the kind of product that you're building for. So with all of this I've said, right, it's not just a walk in a park, or it's not just something that you just fall into. There are ways or strategies. This is just a framework, something I put together, right, that have helped. You can look into it and see how it can also like help your team or the way you think as a product manager, a product person. So this is just a framework for how you can build around a more outcome-driven product. So like I said, always start from the business. Always start from the business in terms of what goal are we trying to hit, or what metric are we trying to get to. Always start from that. What are we trying to achieve as a business? It can be from the business standpoint in terms of profitability. It can be from the standpoint from maybe even your customers, right? Because at the end of the day, every business, of course, they want to make money. Except people, even though you're NGO, you need to show workings. You need to have more people coming back to use your product to show that, yes, you have built a wonderful solution. So whether it's not making money, it might be number of customers. There are a lot of things you might want to achieve to be able to show that, yeah, you're delivering value. So you start from the business strategy. What are we trying to achieve as a business? Then you move on to, okay, what are the opportunities that exist for us to be able to achieve this goal? Like I started, or I showed you guys in the previous slide, right? What are the opportunities? What are customers facing? What are some problems that exist? You go. There's something that we do in my team, right? We look out for like customer inquiries, complaints, just to see, look out for, okay, what are things that are common among what customers are complaining about? Is there like an opportunity for us there? If we do this, right, we also do some bit of aspect, right? If we do this, is it going to increase a particular metric we're trying to achieve as a business strategy? What is our desired outcome from solving this problem? If we solve this problem, yes, we have an overarching goal, right? If we solve this particular problem, what is the desired outcome we want to get out of solving this particular problem? Is this going to increase, let's say, let me talk from the fintech or the savings, because I manage a savings product. From the savings product angle, is it going to increase number of deposits that is being made on the product? Because at the end of the day, is going back to, for me, as for a savings product, right, our goal is want to increase AUM, asset under management. Want to increase, that is like key goal. Want to increase number of users, active users. That's like the main goal. So a problem might be, hey, right, maybe customers are having one challenge with maybe being able to maybe make top-ups or deposit, whatnot. What is the desired outcome? If we solve this particular problem, is it going to increase number of deposits made in that particular product in that particular time? And we don't just jump straight into it, right? We do experiments. We test the hypothesis to say, okay, this particular problem, this is the outcome we have. We believe it will give us this outcome, but we don't just invest all of our time and resources into that, because again, you might be wrong. That's why it's an hypothesis. You need to test it out, right? And you carry out experiments. Experiment can be in different ways or different forms. It can be depending on what is available or time available to you at that point in time, right? Because there are some teams that are very, hey, we need to push. They're not giving enough time to like test. So it depends on where you find yourself in, right? Because at the end of the day, if you don't have time, you can't run experiments. So like I said, experiment can be of different things. It can be maybe just a small, maybe a survey form. Like if we do this, that, again, you don't ask leading questions. You just try to understand where customers' head is at to see if it's tallying with some of the hypotheses you have already in place. Or if you can do like a prototype, a design, right? It's easier to break a design than to break already developed code, because you have wasted time and resources, and not just design, engineers' efforts have gone into it, and you are now saying, hey, this no longer works, right? This no longer works. So you have wasted time. So you can do like design prototypes. I do a lot of like prototyping tests, although I go like the whole shebang because my team allows me. Sometimes I've been in teams that don't allow me to go the whole shebang. What do I mean by the whole shebang? Before we build out the product, we first of all, like I said, we look at complaints, inquiries, we come up with like hypotheses, we come up with like surveys, we will test the product, like discovery work. After discovery, we'll do the OST, opportunity solution tree, we will not do designs, then we will not test before we build. We have time, but there are some teams that don't have time, right? And what I mean, there was a time that there was a company I was working at. My manager at that time wanted us to build out something based on idea and theology, but I knew something was wrong. I had to call the user. I always have like users all around because I'm not building for myself. I try to quickly, that's the experiment. I try to quickly validate my assumption, right? And this brings me to the last point, validating your solution. And I called, I was like, what do you think about this? She could not really express herself as to what the problem was, right? So this was let me just explain so that you guys can relate. It was an edtech product. We're building a learning analytics page for parents, and there's a way we have designed it, right? And the way we designed it, like my manager was like, because she's very educational, like savvy, she understands that I'm not even trying to dispute her expertise in the world of education, but from the product standpoint, the way she wanted us to communicate the result or how children are performing was a lot of information. And I know parents, from what I have seen over time, parents, they don't have time to be wasting on a page. I'm checking to my friend that is a mom. I was like, it's not bad. I was like, okay. She was like, but Bridget, this is how my child's report comes to me from school. And I looked at it, I was like, yes, this is the missing gap. It was so simplified. It went straight to what the child is learning in terms of the skill that the child has, unlocked, and what unlocked it, rather than coming from, oh, my child learned maths. In maths, it was arithmetic, he now knows how to count, all this kind of long routes. And that was the route my manager wanted me to go. But when I saw the route that the report was coming from in that form, right, I knew you also don't want to build a product that is taking users away from their natural like behaviors. So I got my designer to quickly design another version of that page, and we quickly ran tests to like 10 parents. End of the day, 8 parents went with the other one, and 2 parents went with the first one. And when I went back to my manager, she was like, "Hey, of course, I'll go with the second one." Just imagine I had gone with organ-driven development. That's how we would have wasted time. We would have built that solution. Parents will be dropping off, or the owner will be visiting that page. But I quickly experimented, validated my solution, and I got, good feedback, right? And this leads to the feature delivery. I did not just start because, we needed to build it that way. We just went straight and we built. No, I validated it. It made sense. 80% of users that tested with the version preferred it, and we went straight into feature delivery. So you notice that features are output of learning is not necessarily the starting point, right? Because what we're trying to do with that product, and I still have like more case studies, I'm also looking at time, right? What we're trying to do with that product is to get more usage retention, because if parents are seeing benefits that is improving their children learning outcome, they will want to invest into it for their kids, right? So at the end of the day, what we got was not just building something for just building sake. We built something after learning, right? And this brings me to this aspect. Like I said, I did a couple of things before being able to like say, okay, this is what we're going to work on. So there are a couple of questions that you as product people, you should ask before you build any feature, before you work on any feature. There are like 5 questions you need to ask before you build any feature. So the first is, what customer problem does this solve? If it's not solving anything, because especially if you're in a place where it's organ-driven development, I've worked in multiple teams. If I start talking about experiences, scenarios, I'm not sure we'll leave this call because I have stories for days, right? Because I've worked with one team like that, right? My manager then, she was like, "Oh, Bridget, we need to build this, we need to build this." And I started asking that question, okay, I'm not disputing the fact that we need to build this. So what customer problem is this solving? She could not answer. What is the business objective? Is this going to help us like increase sign up or retention? What exactly will do? She could not answer. And it's not like I was trying to make a fool out of her, but I was trying to also bring to her like other things, because there are other, believe me, if you really are going through this route, there will be stuff that you need to work on. There will always be opportunities available for you to work on. So because I had all these other opportunities, and I could answer the questions that I'm asking her, what this is going to solve, what objective does it support, how we're going to measure success, what is the smallest experiment we can run, and what happens when it goes wrong. I'm going to spend a bit of time in what happens if it goes wrong. She was able to like buy into the idea of, okay, you know what, let's prioritize this particular feature over what I want in terms of organ-driven development, right? And it's more of like conversations, negotiations, aligning on the outcome, right, of what we are building or spending time in. Because end of the day, right, in as much as your bosses or your managers, you feel like maybe some are organ-driven development. Everybody always wants what is best for the business. They might not be able to like get there, and that's why you as a product person, it's important for you to understand how to get there, so that you can guide them and they can see, the vision or the outcome you're trying to achieve, and they will support you. So I said I wanted to talk about what happens if we are wrong. When you embark on any features, or when you are like planning on your roadmap in terms of what we want to build, you need to be able to like answer most of these questions. And what I mean is, I know there's a particular product that I want to use. Is it Toby I'm going to use? Okay, I'm not sure it was Toby's product, so don't mind me. Me and Toby work together. So there was a team, right? They built something and they believe that our customer will love it. At the moment they pushed that product, that feature out there, it was causing more harm than good. Because why? The reason why they were able to know that it was causing more harm than good is because they had something that they said, okay, they're going to measure. And instead of it increasing, it was decreasing. So at that point, like, hey, let's roll it back, right? Let's remove it from, customers' front. And this is things like feature flagging. I can't go into like depths of all of this technology, all this terminology. So please, some things I'm saying, I'll try to explain. But if you don't understand, please, you can ask or, ask our wonderful friends, Claude and Google. So there are things like you need to like plan for, like rollback. You're not just building, let's just build fast, right? And when something is going wrong, to roll back, you don't have plans for like rollback mechanism, how long rollback will take. Is this thing under a feature flag? Can we easily turn it off if it's causing problem? These are things that you should be able to be answer for, because sometimes while you have done maybe all the great stuff, hypothesis, you might still be wrong. And you need to be able to plan for situations when you are wrong, right? So that's why I wanted to like spend a bit of time. So if you cannot answer these questions, the feature I believe should not be on the roadmap, because exactly who are you building this thing for? It's not helping business, it's not helping customers. Okay, it's helping your ego, which I believe that's not the plan. Right. So from all of this things I've said, let's like practicalize it. A business lead came to you and came with a request. How do you translate this request into outcomes? Because while we are trained as product people, and if you are not trained, I want you to like train yourself, and that's why we're having these kind of conversations. We need to be trained to be more outcome driven and not a feature factory machine. Some of our business leaders or management or stakeholders, they are more at request driven, like, hey, output. So when they are coming with this kind of request, you should be able to like know how to translate it into outcomes for yourself, or else you just. So let's say, for instance, a stakeholder says, let's build a savings leaderboard. You will ask, what business outcome are we trying to achieve? Right? You try to answer it, like try to see where the stakeholder is coming from. Because the real issue might be the business owner or the business lead or whoever you are reporting to might be trying to solve something. Maybe there's a signal there that is trying to solve, and that's why I thought of the idea, let's build a savings leaderboard. It might be, maybe a lot of people are not saving as they want to. I'm using savings because, again, I'm trying to use things that I've worked on, right? So it's relatable, and also different industries. So it might be a lot of people are not saving as they are supposed to, or people are creating savings plan, but they are not, actually putting money into the savings plan. You just have, and that's what they call vanity metrics. Please don't measure vanity metrics. You have 100,000 savings plan, but only 10% only 10% actually have money inside the savings plan. Don't be celebrating 100,000 savings plan. Celebrate at least 50 or 60% of them are on track to their savings goal, because at the end of the day, the business goal, the customer goal you're trying to solve for is you want to help people meet their goals or build financial discipline, right, for the customer standpoint. So if they're not doing this, those are just vanity metrics. So there might be other signals or real issues. And when you look deep into like some of these signals, you might find out that building a savings leaderboard might not be the needed feature at that point in time, right? And if you're able to like ask this kind of question, it can help you to dig deep to understand, okay, why are customers not having or saving as they are supposed to? It might be maybe you need to add an automated way for them to save because maybe they forget, right? Or maybe you need to add savings reminders. It might not be a savings leader, but that's just what I'm trying to say. Because different problem potentially a different solution. So it's important for you to be able to translate what is the request and what's the outcome we're trying to achieve at the end of the day. So what I'm just trying to say in all of this is, at the end of the day, alignment, is important. Alignment between you, all the stakeholders, important. And alignment does not happen after a roadmap has been built or developed. It is important that you build or develop a roadmap with all the stakeholders that are involved in the business, or all the decision makers, right, that are key to your product or your startup or company or whatever, And alignment typically happens around the outcomes. Everybody always know this is where we want to go. Everybody might have different ideas in terms of how they want to get there. But most times, I say most times because sometimes might be funny things. Most times, everybody just have like one single vision, but just that everybody's head is all over the place, right? So a mistake that most product managers make is they socialize around the roadmap after it's complete. They start talking to stakeholders, come and approve my roadmap, oh, these are the things we want to build, oh, and all of that. Nah, that's not what you should be doing. The first thing you should be doing, like I've said, align your business goals first. Second thing is, what problem are we trying to solve for this? Third thing is, like I said, opportunities. What are the opportunities that exist in this aspect? Prioritize it. What is key for us? Let's all agree on, okay, this is the opportunity. Why? Because if you do this, right, you can easily build a roadmap together. When people are coming up with wonderful ideas, you will tell them, hey, remember, we prioritize that our focus for this is to improve retention. It's not necessarily acquisition. This feature idea is great, but it's more suited towards acquisition. And we know acquisition is not a problem for us as a business. What is a problem for us is retention. Because when you look at the ARM metric, acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. Yeah, those funnel. If you look at your funnel, if you are having great acquisition and you are not retaining, it's just falling off your funnel at the end of the day, right? So that might not be important. You can easily align on outcomes and everybody understands what matters, because people can challenge features, but people are well aligned when it comes to outcome. So I think I've been giving a lot of case studies, right? I want to give enough time for questions. I'm wrapping up soon. There was a time we're supposed to build like a feature. We had a feature request, right? We should enable children to be able to create their own accounts. This was in the edtech company I was working at. We had a great platform. We had feature requests that, hey, let's enable children to create their own accounts. And the idea was we wanted ease of accessibility for the kids, speed to quickly, get into the value, because what we're building them were learning games for kids. Because at the end of the day, the people that were there's something you call primary users and secondary users. Our primary users were the kids, the secondary users were the parents. So what do I mean is the primary users are the ones who are actually building the solutions for. We want to quickly get them to see the game so that they can fall in love with it in terms of the value, right? And they can say, oh, mommy, daddy, I want this product. So we're trying to say, okay, should we prioritize building ease and accessibility? Because some of these kids, they have emails and stuff. Let them easily be able to create their account, quickly get to the value. But thankfully, thank God. Oh, wait. Did we build it? I'm trying to remember. No, I think we went to do research straight. When we did research, we found out a couple of things. Parents wanted visibility. Again, they are kids. While you in your head, right, you're not building anything harmful. A lot of people might not have the intention that we have. And parents don't want to be, playing with their children and say, oh, this one might be good. They want visibility. They want to know what their children are doing, right? Families, we see that families share devices, right? Their homes, because it's only the rich folks, the Nepos babies, not the povos, that have multiple devices, iPads and stuff. They share devices, just one device, maybe the mother's Android or whatnot, or maybe one tab that everybody's sharing. And children's safety matters more than speed. So what we wanted, the outcome we wanted was, yes, we wanted ease, we wanted simplified account management. We also wanted increased parent trust. After doing all of those research and everything, we ended up with a decision where we said, okay, instead of kids being able to create their account, parents will create their account and they'll have multiple child profile, so that management in terms of each person's learning abilities, because different children have different learning abilities and strengths. All of these things can still be achievable. Parents can still monitor what's going on. Parents still makes the decision into signing up or creating an account. So while we had this feature request, we did not change the outcome of what we're trying to achieve. What we did was we changed the feature, right? So this is how, you can be more outcome driven. So what I'm trying to say is, do not celebrate the number of features that you have built, because all of these things does not matter at the end of the day. You just find out that you have wasted 2 or 3 months. Okay, what did you achieve? Nothing. When you would have actually spent more time building something that matters, something that have increased revenue for the company. And if your company is increasing revenue, there's no how they'll tell you they're not going to like increase your salary. Not like some company will say, hey, we're not making money. Now you're making money, you're showing workings. Hey, come and do it needful, increase my salary, do something. Customers are happy. And if customers are happy, they will refer your product. You don't even need to spend much in ads. You're building stuff that customers actually want, that is actually solving the problem for customers, right? So one benefit of having this kind of like outcome-driven approach is you're able to handle unforeseen changes, right? Because if you have a fixed roadmap, it breaks under pressure. You're all over the place. What do we do? I've spent so many time and energy building something that nobody wants. Whereas if you're more outcome driven, it's more adaptive and it evolves with new information. And I'm just wrapping up, trying to move very fast because of time, so you guys can ask questions. It also enables you to make room for innovation, because innovation needs to be part of what you are doing. Things are constantly changing. You cannot develop a roadmap with features that will have your team occupied from now till December. Let me not say now because we're already in July. Let's say from January to December, your team cannot be occupied. You can stop. Abba, what are you saying, God? Please stop that. Instead, you should break it down. We already know, okay, this is the goal vision for the year. As you're achieving one, you already know, okay, this is the next thing, and you can build and innovate towards that into opportunities. But if your team is so occupied, even your head will be so clouded, you won't have time to innovate, right? So innovation should be planned. It should not be accidental. Protect capacity for experimentation is very important before the next urgent request arrives. Always leave room for us to say, okay, what is going on? Be able to bring your head out of the water. What is happening in the market right now? What's happening in the industries? What are our customers looking out for, right? So at the end, lastly, I think this is my second to last slide. The roadmap, your roadmap should sit into this cycle. On everything I've been saying, everything I've said up to this point should be what makes up your roadmap. Looking at business goals, customer insights, prioritizing opportunities, doing experimentations, being able to measure outcomes, learning from the process, and going again through that process to build and develop new products and features. So I'm just going to end here. The best product teams, they don't win because they build everything they have planned for. If you are building everything you have planned for, something is wrong. It's even a signal that something is wrong, right? Because customer needs are ever changing. They win because they consistently deliver the outcomes that matters the most. So with all of this I've said, I hope I've been able to convince you and not confuse you on why you should not be focused on. We need to ship, and ship. But yeah.
It's the way you ended there. Convince and not confuse you that you need to ship and deliver only the outcomes that matter the most.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of people asking questions live on the call. So if you have questions, you can raise up your hand and we would call you to go ahead and ask your question. If you are feeling like you don't want to raise up your hand as well, you can type in the chat or use the unknown section of the question and answer, and we'll go ahead and call you to come out to ask a question. While people are, digesting everything that you said so that you can raise up your hand, I have a couple of things that I would like to throw back at you. You mentioned a couple of things regards vanity metrics, right? And considering your cross-sector experience, I would like to ask the question, how do you know the metrics that matter when customers are asking for different things for you to build?
So I'm trying to understand this question. Customers, they were asking you for stuff to build.
Yeah, customers are asking for so many different things, right?
Things.
They don't want vanity metrics, right? So how do you know the metrics that matter? So how do you track the right metrics?
I feel like that thing is like two questions, right? Because I've related to one of it.
Yeah.
So Oh God, I just remembered one. There was a particular feature, there was a product I was working for that I was building at one point, right? Is more of an edtech tutoring platform, and it has users in different regions. Nigeria, most of the users are diaspora. I don't want to, okay, nobody's there. I wanted to say, I don't know why the diaspora are always looking for cheap labor when it comes to tutor. They don't want to pay UK fee. So there was something that they were asking for, right? Which is, hey, they want to be able to they want to be able to switch payments. Like they want to be able to pay in Naira and they want to pay in pounds. Again, I had to calm down. Okay, why do they want to pay in pounds and not in Naira? They're like, hey, the question is cheap. You know, when is Naira? Because Nigeria, the way the product is being valued, Nigeria users pay, of course, a rather lower price. But if you're over there, you see the price in like dollars, you know, pounds for you to pay, and it's a bit higher. And they have friends in Nigeria that are seeing that other price. So they say, hey, they want to be able to pay for this, which was crazy, right? And I had like conversations with my manager then. I was like, oh, we need to build this, we need to build this. And I asked a couple of questions. Is it that this is more of like a must-have? Because you need to be able to, this is like some ways in terms of how you prioritize certain things. It is a must-have for us, right? And in terms of our business goals, because they were also trying to, what's the word? So it was two goals, right? While we had two goals, there was want to increase revenue, also want to increase, you know, more users, acquisitions, right? And at that point, while I was of the opinion that we should allow parents over in the UK to be deciding, at that point in time, I had conversation with my manager, which we had like a sit down. Okay, what are we trying to achieve at this point? At that point, we're trying to build the product in particular states, you know, have more users, referrals, right? So acquisition referral at that point was important to us. So we needed to kind of like prioritize that aspect. And while we wanted revenue, if these parents are leaving because again they know that their parents in Nigeria are paying cheaper price, it's going to be a problem for us. So we said, okay, you know what we're going to do, just for the purpose of, you know, acquisition, we don't have to, because this was certain parents. It's not like all parents in diaspora. Imagine we build the feature of people can swap. It's not just these parents that will be swapping. Everybody in the room will be swapping. So when I understood the problem that, hey, okay, we need to increase revenue. We need to increase like acquisition and retention. I had to, instead of building that ability, we had to just build a discount management system where these parents can just be given a code and can be discounted to the amount they actually are seeing their parents work. So imagine I just went with, hey, customer wants, I want to be able to switch. That's how we'll lose some markets because of some certain subset of customers that can be solved by using a discount code.
I like the way you answer that. It takes me back to that circular diagram you drew in your last slide. You had to deep dive the problem so that you can experiment around solutions that actually match business goals, not just, oh, customers have said we should do this, let's do it, right? There are a couple of questions in the chat as well, right? Grace's question is, what do you do? What do you do to prioritize change mid-development? Grace, can you unmute your mic to ask that question live so that we don't lose any context? I'm pretty sure Bridget would like to ask you what you're trying to refer to. Grace?
Oh.
Hi, Grace. Grace, if you're on the call, a little bit of...
I can see if I can deduce.
Okay, let's
so
see.
I think, how do you prioritize change mid-development? So actually, it would have been great if you could explain this. So whether you're prioritizing what the person is asking in terms of change, or how do you... Anyway, let me just try. Grace, if you're there, you can unmute, right? So you might give more context to what you're asking.
She's on the road and she's added more context. How do you prioritize changes mid-development? So I'm assuming you're already going in one direction and management says, hey, computer B is doing this, or our highest paying customer A says this is what they want, and we're not done shipping what it is that we already say we want to ship right now. How do we go ahead with prioritizing that kind of situation when we've only only gone 70% or 60% with what we're working on currently.
Okay. This actually just reminded me of something again. I have to prioritize with development. Okay, have we started development? I'm not sure we had. Have we? Can't remember. Anyway, but this can be a good example anyway. So, like I said, there are different ways to like look at the problem. You have to come now and say, okay, what are we trying to achieve? What do we have already going for us, right? So maybe you might be working on something. There's so many ways to look at this thing. There's no one less. What I'm trying to say is, let's say you're already working on something and you already know what this thing will do for you in terms of metric. And let's say this thing is going to do maybe increase maybe acquisition rates by 10%, and you're 60% into like development, and your business lead or whoever comes to meet you and say, hey, we need to change direction. You should ask yourself some certain questions, right? Because if this is not like what's the word, superseding whatever you are doing, there are a couple of things you should ask. Okay, this you're supposed to work on, this new thing, is it going to get us to the retention faster? Maybe also, how long will it take us for us to build this new thing you're supposed to tell us, you're asking us to build? Oh, it's going to take us, let's say, 2 sprints, and what you're already on is 1 sprint. And if you do this thing 1 sprint, there's so many things. Let's say it will take you, what you're currently on is 1 more sprint for you to push it out there, and it will help increase retention by 10%. But this other thing will take you 2 weeks to build, but it might help increase retention by 40%, right? And maybe again, if you're in a sector of B2B, business to business, it's a huge business that is asking for it. That you know, if you're in B2B, let's say you're building for a company like Microsoft, you have a solution for a company like Microsoft, and you have like some small names. I don't want to call some names. Let me say Toby and Coles, like 4 customers, or a community of Toby and Coles that are like small customers. You know they will not give you, and this is the customer is asking for it. It will also help increase intention. What if this is already answering your question in terms of what you should prioritize? It's already you can see it, but sometimes it's not looking that way. What you are working on at that point in time, don't mind me, what you're working on at that point in time might be the opposite of what I just explained. Is the one that will get you to 40% increase in retention. The business team might have asked for that thing. You should go and do the work to look at what that thing will do for in terms of metric and bring it to them. Numbers never lie. One of my business lead then used to tell me that, she don't have any problem, is the superior arguments. Just bring a superior argument to her. She have no problem. If you can bring a superior argument, you will win. But if you cannot bring a superior argument, problem. So how do you bring a superior argument? Numbers. Numbers don't lie. And your business, they're all about numbers. Just show them the numbers. So I hope I've been able to answer that.
I think that particular answer that you gave even answers a couple of questions that came after that particular question. Because there's a question here on how do you push back on a feature request you're convinced isn't the right call at the moment. Again, superior argument.
Don't lie. Superior argument.
The Tyler Salami also asked the question, feature conversations can be quite hard in reality, but how do you convince your handy that his feature request is a vanity one, my brother? That's a very heavy word to use. It sees things from the business side only, while you consider things from the customer's end. I think you should respond to this one because I think it's a balance of both, right? Because
no, the question is actually kind of like contradicting itself. If you see things from the business side, is it really a vanity metric? It's actually a vanity metric now. It's really just seeing things from his own eyeball that is vanity. Because it's business, imagine like that one I said, right? If because of the business leader, like if you have 100,000 savings plan with no money, it's not increasing the business revenue now. So it's a vanity one. Except, so that question, let me just remove business. Let's say what's the word? Your MD is not saying things from the business angle. It's just saying things based on what he thinks is the business angle, right? Again, numbers don't lie. You need to like bring out your facts and everything. And sometimes, because I've been in situations that even though I've said all of these things, right, I've gone to have conversations, all of those things. Sometimes they will still be pushing you for it, right? And this is where a lot of work comes into play on your own standpoint. Remember, there was something I said. Let me see if I can look for that slide. 5 questions.
There is a question here that would you do aspire to perspire, but
remember what I said. What happens if we are wrong? Because I want to believe I've been in your shoes where when something goes wrong, they will not be said that they're the one that asks you. They'll say you're the product manager. Why did you know? So if you're in that position that you have tried everything you have tried in terms of numbers, everything is still not budging, you should be able to plan for what happens if this thing goes wrong. You need to come up with a contingency plan. How can we ensure we roll back? Because they'll tell you they are the PM, you are the PM, they just give you the idea. So you should be able to work with your engineers to look out for like fallback mechanism to be able to tackle that problem. Because if that thing goes wrong, believe me, your neck is still what is coming. So protect yourself, my brother. But like I said, numbers don't lie for those willing to listen.
Yeah. It's already 8 o'clock. We're supposed to end by 8, so I'm just going to read 2 more questions because it looks like the questions are coming in like a rain, like a flood. I'll read 2 questions together. There's a question from Favor about how to pick the team back when a new idea comes in, right? Okay, so let me read it. How do you tactically push back on feature-driven development as a PM, especially when the stakeholder is convinced that their new big idea is the right approach? You've already answered this. But the question now is, in a case where there is nothing you can do, how do you pick the team back up when the new idea fails? So I think this is a follow-up on
I already answered this already, which is what happens when things go wrong. There are so many things. How can you roll back? Would they be like, do you need to start writing emails, messages? See, this last week I'm writing a lot of emails because of something that somebody did somewhere that did before I would join the company. I'm proposing emails since I've been in conversation with compliance to be reviewing my emails. I'm sending to users. So you just
now that you mentioned compliance, let me read this question. What kind of outcomes can you have when you're a PM that handles onboarding, but with a lot of compliance-related requests that come up throughout the year from CBN? I'm pretty certain it's Tolu and his team that blocked our deployments 2 weeks ago, but please, can you answer this question?
Oh, God, this is crazy. I have dealt with 2 things. Okay, what kind of outcomes can you have when you're a PM that handles blah, blah, blah with the compliance-related requests that come up? It's actually a compliance request that we're dealing with right now. Toby, you shouldn't be aware of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure. I mean, this is inside gist, but I'm pretty sure it's our team that delayed that work 2 weeks ago. But how do you cope with CBN blocking your work or compliance team blocking your work, or with Tolu Animi blocking your work? Right? How do you pursue your outcomes despite?
Well, so there are 2 things. So there are 2 different features or things I've worked on that had this compliance related stuff. So I'm just going to use I'm just going to use from experience, right? So there's a particular feature I'm working on. Of course, we have done all the customer discovery. Every single thing is looking great. It's going to help increase. What that feature was supposed to do for us was more of like a social feature, but will also help increase deposits, right, in our savings plan. We have built it. Customers want it. And we say, okay, let's be compliant and let's go ask how far. That thing just scattered everything. They started bringing up loopholes. That. And particular feature would have been great. It's going to help us achieve some certain metrics. But thankfully, we have not built it. And that's why it's always good. If you're in this kind of companies or teams, this is an advice. Please don't waste, let me not say waste. Don't spend time building stuff before you take it to compliance to review and approve. Always get their feedback before you embark on anything. So that's what we did. We went to get our feedback. We have a lot of pushback, back and forth. And myself and my business lead, we got to a conversation, right? And we're like, hey, if we spend time building these things, it's going to be great too. If we spend, I think we needed to spend like 2 sprints, like a month or so, like a month to build it. If we spend 1 month to build this thing will not see the light of day. Why? Because compliance will not approve this thing. Why waste time building something that will not see the light of day? Is there something else we can pick up in that 1 month sprint, right? To build that can help some certain metric. Instead of 1 month, we build something and it's held up somewhere, whereas there are other things that we can pick up. So in things like this, right, sometimes you just have to let go. And that's why I say it is important for you to always seek their feedback early on before development. so that you don't waste time building stuff that you now be paying you to let go because it has not seen the light of day. Then another thing, there was one that compliance was also pushing back because of time. Let me just move. I can't give the second example. Toby, what's the next question? I hope the first example helped. I have stories for days, guys. I will sleep here if I have fun start sharing stories.
It's already 8:05. I want to read more stuff, but I would like us to keep.
Can you
time.
read the last message on Deborah? I think it's pretty long.
So Deborah's question is the last question here. Okay, we're not taking anything else after Deborah. So Deborah's question is: in my organization, feature requests are typically decided during board meetings where all the major stakeholders are present. But me as the product manager, I am not included. By the time the request gets to me, they have been decided. The requests are not driven by a product roadmap, customer research, or any formal prioritization process. They're simply just handed out to me for execution. In a situation like this, how would I begin introducing outcome-driven product management? Where would I even start? How do you
two ways to look at this thing? Two ways. The easier ways is to pick your battle. Are you collecting salary? You don't mind. Just continue collecting salary. You are the one that chose it. If you don't want, go to another company. That's the easiest way. I have a friend, he's a PM, right? I'm like, why are you still in this company? He said, Bridget, see, I don't like stress. He had another opportunity to be a principal product manager. He's also building his own startup on the side. He said, if he's doing a principal product manager, will be more product inclined, product driven, all those things. He will not have time to focus on the startup. He's somewhere else that they're just telling him what to do. He doesn't mind. He'll just build it, not taking his time. He said he does not mind. He's giving peace of mind. So you choose. If that's what you want, you continue. But two, you love the place, right? You want to make a change. What I can help, this is long shot. It's a long shot, right? You know that these decisions always happen. I'm sure that this kind of decision always happen like once a year, doing management retreats, whatnot. Let's say every November or December or January. Before this time of the year, have conversations with your manager, the person that comes to push out the request to you, because they are the ones that go to this boardroom, this meeting. Do like an analysis of what your company has, maybe your team, if you have been there for a couple of years. If you have not been, maybe you can research to what has been achieved in previous time based on the direction they took. Then propose what would happen if you are more outcome driven, what kind of things that can come out of this if they take this approach. You are not in those rooms. Try to hopefully sell the idea to the person that will be in this room. And when they go there, they're already having that mindset before they go into those rooms. Instead of you waiting on, they've already made up the decision, you're not trying to change it. Try to change it before they go for these meetings. Start putting it in their head. Again, come with numbers. Why you are coming up with this solution, what they have done in time past, right? How it can be better, right? So these are ways. Like I said, two ways. One, enjoy the money. Two, you can try this or you just resign.
Thank you very much, Bridget. I like the fact that despite the fact that you're stressed, you still came with a lot of energy and you came with a lot of value. Very, very grateful for making this work. Thank you, everyone, for your questions as well. You have made us go deeper into this topic today. And I hope that if you're not in a place where you're just there for the money, you get to build something that is outcome driven, something that I can go back 3 years after to say, I did this and this and this. Because if you notice something about Bridget's session today, for every single line Bridget had, she had examples she could fall back to. The only reason why that applies is because, she's been building outcome driven from the very, very beginning. So wherever you are today, you want to ask yourself, would I be able to have examples of today, tomorrow? Thank you very much, guys, for joining the session today. That's been the Product Lab session by the people in product community. Please enjoy the rest of your week and stay outcome driven. Bye, guys.